fight forever. Homer, tribute, freestyle. Of all creatures that breathe and move upon earth, nothing is bred that is weaker than man. There is the heat of love, the pulse and a rush of longing, the love's whisper, irresistible magic to make the sanest man go mad. Hateful to me as the gates of Hades is that man who hides one thing in his heart and speaks another. There is a time for many words, and there is also a time for sleep. There is nothing more admirable than when two people who see eye to eye keep house as man and wife compound in their enemies and delight in their friends. A man who has been through bitter experiences and traveled far enjoys even his sufferings after a time. Let me not then die ingloriously and without a struggle, but let me first do some great thing that shall be told among men hereafter. Be strong, saith my heart. I am a soldier. I have seen worse sights than this. For a friend with an understanding heart is worth no less than a brother. My brother from another mother. A brother, Saint Amuse of the rage of Achilles, son of Peleus, that brought countless ills upon the chains. Even a fool learns something once it hits him, like the generation of leaves, the lives of mortal men, and now the wind scatters the old leaves across the earth. Now the living timber bursts with the new buds, and spring comes round again. And so with men, as one generation comes to life and never dies away, we men are wretched things. Why so much grief for me? No man will hurl me down to death against my fate, and fate no one alive has ever escaped, and neither brave man nor coward, I tell you, is born with us the day that we are born. The difficulty is not so great to die for a friend as a friend worth dying for. The difficulty is not so great to find. The difficulty is not so great to die for a friend as to find a friend worth dying for. But men are so quick to blame the gods. They say that we devise their misery, but they themselves and their depravity design a grief greater than the griefs that fate assigns. How prone to doubt, how cautious are the wise. Achilles glared at him and answered, Fool, pray not to me about covenants. There can be no covenants between men and lions, wolves and lambs. Can never be one mind, but hate each other out and through. Therefore, there can be no understanding between you and me, nor may there be any covenants between us till one or other shall fall asleep delicious and profound, the very counterfeit of death. My name is nobody. Ah, how shameless the way these mortals blame the gods from us alone. They say come all their miseries, yet but they themselves, with their own reckless ways, compound their plans beyond their proper share. The blade itself incites to deeds of violence. Is the wine. Is the wine that leads me on, the wild wine that sets the wisest man to sing at the top of his lungs, laugh like a fool. It drives the man to dance, and it even tempts him to blurt out stories better never told. I didn't lie. I just created fiction with my mouth. A south, about a wow, I like that star of the Awanan summer, who beyond all stars arises bathed in the ocean stream, to glitter and brilliance, and empty words are equal. No one can hurry me down to Hades before my time. But if a man's hour is come, be he a brave or be he coward, there's no escape for him when he has once been born. No man or woman born coward or brave can shun his destiny. Each man delights in the work of that suits him best. Come, friend, you too must die. Why moan about it so? Even Patroclus died a far better man than you. And look, you see how handsome and powerful I am, the son of a great man, the mother who gave me life, a deathless goddess. But even for me, I tell you, death and the strong force of fate are waiting. There will come a dawn or sunset or high noon when a man will take my life in battle too, flinging a spear perhaps, or whipping a deadly arrow off his bow. Wow, oh, wow! His descent was like nightfall. Some things you will think yourself. Some things a God will put into your mind. rhymes. There will be killing till the score is paid away. Take courage, my heart. You have been through worse than this. Be strong, saith my heart. I am a soldier. I have seen worse sights than this. To journey is the thing, and overpowered by memory, both men gave way to grief. Priam wept freely for man killing Hector, Brabham crouching before Achilles' feet. For Achilles' feet, as Achilles wept himself, and now for his father, now for Patroclus. Once again, Amber sobbing rose and flew out the house. Wow, few sons are like their fathers, most are worse, few better. And now from his breast into the eyes of ache, along and mounted, and he wept at last, his dear wife clear and faithful, and his arms longed for as the sun-warmed earth is longed for by a swimmer, spent in rough water where his ship went down under Poseidon's blows, gale winds and tons of sea. A few men can keep alive through a big surf, to crawl clouded with brine on kindly beaches. Enjoy no one the abyss behind. And so she too rejoiced, her gaze upon her husband, her white arms round him pressed, as though forever. If you serve too many masters, you'll soon suffer. Beauty, terrible beauty, a deathless goddess. So she strikes our eyes. Rhymes. There is nothing alive more agonized than men. Nothing alive more agonized than men. Of all that breathe and crawl across the earth, it hurts. Out of sight, out of mind. Be strong, saith my heart. I am a soldier. I have seen worse sights than this. But then life is largely a matter of expectation. Life is largely a matter of expectation. Gladys signed his sword. The brave man draws and asks, no omen but his country's cause. Youth is quick in feeling, but weak in judgment. Sing in me, muse, and through me tell the story of that a man skilled in all ways, of contending the wanderer, harried for years and end. Yes, and if some God shall wreck me in the wine a dark deep, even so I will endure, for already have I suffered full much, and much have I toiled in perils of waves and war. Let this be added to the tale of those. Woe, there if I go, spitting notes into my phone, rhyming poetry, don't you know? Why have you come to me here, a dear heart, with all these instructions? I promise you, I will do everything just as you ask, but come a little closer. Let us give in to grief, however briefly, in each other's arms. Why cover the same ground again? It goes against my grain to repeat a tale told once and told so clearly. Be still, my heart, thou hast known worse than this. The roaring seas and many a dark range of mountains lie between us, and mortals are never alien to one another. Immortals are never alien to one another. Bubble, not trouble. Still, we will let all this be a thing of the past, though it hurts us and beat down by constraint, the anger that arises inside us. Now I am thinking, an end of my anger does not become me unrelentingly to rage on. Even his griefs are a joy long after to one that remembers all that he wrought and endured. A rage goddess, a saint, the rage of Peleus, a son of Achilles, murderous, doomed that cost chains, countless losses, hurl him down to the house of death. So many sturdy souls, great fighters' souls, but made their bodies carry on a feast for the dogs and birds, and the will of Zeus was moving toward an end. Began Muse when the two first broke and clashed. Agamemnon, lord of men, and brilliant Achilles, ruined eldest daughter of Zeus. She blinds us all, that fatal madness, as she with those delicate feet of hers, never touching the earth, gliding over the heads of men to trap us all. She entangles one man, and now another. So the gods don't hand out all their gifts at once, and not build him brains and flowing speech to all. And one man may fall to impress us with his looks, but a god can crown his words with beauty, charm, and men look on with delight when he speaks out, never faltering, filled with winning self-control. Worn and winning self-control, he shines forth at assembly grounds, and people gaze at him like a god when he walks through the streets. Another man may look like a deathless one on high but there's not a bit of grace to crown his words, just like you, my fine, handsome friend, rapping again and again inside of my head. Too many kings can ruin an army. A wine can their wits of the wise beguile, make the sage frolic, and the serious smile. Generations of men are like the leaves, and winter winds blow them down to earth. But then, when spring seasons come again, the budding wood grows more, and so with men, when generation grows, never dies away. But there they lie, sprawled across the field, craved far more by the vultures than by wives. Down from his brow she ran his curls, like thick hyacinth clusters full of blooms. Aries in his many fits, no favorites. These nights are endless, and a man can sleep through them, or he can enjoy listening to stories, and you have no need to go to bed before it is time. Too much sleep is only a bore, a bore of the others ending. One whose heart and spirit urge him can go outside and sleep, and then when the dawn shows, breakfast first, then go out to end the swine of our master. Be we two sitting here in the shelter, eating and drinking, shall entertain each other, remembering and retelling our sad sorrows. For afterwards, a man who has suffered much and wandered much has pleasure out of his sorrows. The sort of words a man says, and the sort of he hears and returns. Nay, if even in the house of Hades the dead forget their dead, yet will I even there be mindful of my dear comrade. You, why are you so afraid of war and slaughter? Even if all the rest of us drop and die around you, grappling for the ships, you run no risk of death. You lack the heart to last it out in combat, coward. Yet by hook or by crook, this peril too shall be something that we remember. You insolent brazen bitch, you rarely dare to shake a monster wrist, a spear in father's face. Is he not sacred even to the gods? The wandering man who comes in weariness, I say, and no wealth is worth my life, not all they claim was stored in the depths of Troy, the city built on riches, that city built on riches in the old days of peace before the sons of Achaia came. Not all the gold held fast in archers, rocky bolts, and Phobos, Apollo's house on Pythos, sheer cliffs, cattle, and fat sheep can all be had for raiding tripods, all for the trading and tawny-headed stallions. But a man's life, a breath, cannot come back again. No raiders in force, no trading brings it back. Once it slips through a man's clenched teeth, mother tells me the immortal goddess that Thetis with her glistening feet that two fates bear me on but to the day of death. If I hold out here and I lay siege to Troy, my journey home is gone, but my glory never dies. If I voyage back to the fatherland I love, my pride, my glory dies true. But the life that's left me will be long. A stroke of death will not come on me quickly. Here, therefore, huge and mighty warrior, though you be, here shall you die. Come then, put away your sword in its sheath, and let us two go up them into my bed, so that lying together in the bed of love, we may then have faith and trust in each other. Skepticism is as much the result of knowledge as knowledge is of skepticism. To be content with what we are at present, no, is for the most part to shut our eyes against conviction, since from the very gradual character of our education equation, we must continually forget and emancipate ourselves from knowledge previously acquired. We must set aside old notions and embrace fresh ones, and as we learn, we must be a daily unlearning of something which it has cost us no small labor and anxiety to acquire. He knew how to say many false things that were like true sayings, and fate no one alive has ever escaped, and neither brave man nor coward. I tell you, it's born with us the day that we are born. Be patient, my heart, for you have endured things worse than this before. But it is only what happens when they die to all immortals. The sinews no longer hold the flesh and the bones together. The once of the spirit has left the white bones. All the rest of the body is made subject to the fire's strong fury about the soul. flitters out like a dream and flies away. But sing no more this bitter tale that wears my heart away. And Antilochus, coughing up lyrics. You're the most appalling driver in the world. Go to hell. Say not a word in death's favor. I would rather be a paid servant in a poor man's house and be above ground than king of kings among the dead. Achilles, Spendy, for they imagine as they wish that it was a wild shot and coughing up lyrics, unattended killing of fools, not to comprehend they were already in the grip of death, but glaring under his brows. Odysseus answered, you yellow dogs, you thought I'd never make it home from the land of Troy. You took my house to plunder, twisted my maid to serve your beds, rapping, spitting out my head, coughing again. Lyrics, I said, you dared bid for my wife while I was still alive. Contempt was all you had for the gods who rule wide heaven. A contempt for what men say for you hereafter. Coughing, hacking up lyrics forever. Your last hour has come. You die in blood. I know not what the future holds, but I know coughing out lyrics never end. And I said, knows who holds the future. I know not what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. Rapper forever. What are the children of men but as leaves that drop at the wind's breath? Choose well. Even a fool may be wise after the event. There is no greater fame for a man than that which he wins with his footwork or the skill of his hands. I wish that strife would vanish away from among gods and immortals, wrapping in a portal, multiple dimensional and gall, which makes a man grow angry for all. His great mind, that gall of anger that swarms like smoke inside of a man's heart and becomes a thing sweeter to him by far than the dripping of honey, rampant money, bunny. My every impulse bends to what is right. Tell me, O muse of travelers far and wide, everything is more beautiful because we are doomed. You will never be lovelier than you are now. Plow. Will never be here again. Rapping inside of my head, the lyrics began echoing. I said, my life is more to me than all the wealth of Elias. My life is worth more to me. My life is worth more to me than all the wealth of Elias. The proud heart feels no terror, nor turns to run, and it is his own courage that kills him. Small rock holds back a great wave, but you, Achilles, this is not a man in the world more blessed than you. There never has been, never will be one. A time was when you were alive. We, our gifts, honored you as a god. Now down here I see you lord it over the dead and all your power. So grieve no more at dying, great Achilles. I reassured the ghost, but he broke out a protest in no whining words about death to me, shining Odysseus. By God, I'd rather slave on earth for another man, some dirt, a poor tenant, a farmer who scrapes to keep alive, than rule down here over all for breathless dead. Heaven has appointed us dwellers on earth a time for all things. Men grow tired of sleep, love singing and dancing sooner than war. A skepticism is as much the result of knowledge as knowledge is of skepticism. I have no interest at all in food and drink, but only in slaughter and blood, and the agonized groans of mangled men, of all creatures that breathe and move on earth. My head hurts no more is to be pitied by the man. No, and what if one of the gods does wreck me out on the wine dark sea? I have a heart that is injured to suffer in, and I shall steel it to endure that too for end my day. I have had many bitter and painful experiences of war and on the stormy seas, so let this new disaster come. It only makes me one more. It is entirely seemly for a young man killed in battle to lie mangled on the bronze spear, and his death all things appear fair. Come weave us a scheme, so I can pray them back. Stand beside me, Athena, fire me with a dancing fierce, as the day we ripped Troy's glittering crown. Towers down, stand by me, furious now as then, my bright-eyed one. And I would fight 300 men, great goddess, with you to brace me, a comrade in arms of battle. Fire first, a fire rapper first, as she said. We were keep clear of the sirens who sit and sing most beautifully, in a field of flowers. But she said I might hear them of myself so long as no one else did, therefore take me and blind me to a crosspiece halfway up the mast, bind me as I stand upright with a bond so fast that I cannot possibly break away, and lash the rope's ends to the mast itself. If I beg and pray you to set me free, then bind me more tightly still. The charity that is a trifle to us can be precious to others. 3,000 years have not changed the human condition in this respect. We are still lovers and victims of the will to violence, and so long as we are, Homer will be read as its truest interpreter, rapper and an entrepreneur, a spitter. But listen to me first and wear an oath to use all your eloquence and strength to look after me and protect me like a girl, a baby running after her mother, begging to be picked up, and she tugs on her skirts, holding her back as she tries to hurry off all tears falling up at her until she takes her in her arms. That's how you look, Patroclus, streaming life tears. My friend, if you and I could escape this fray and live forever, never a trace of age immortal, wrapping up multiple dimensional, immortal portal. I would never fight on the front lines again or command you to the field where men, when fame of a rose, a dawn, might have found them, weeping still, had not a gray-eyed Athena, a sober night, when night was most profound, and held the dawn under the ocean of the east, that glossy team of fire bright and day bright, the dawn's horses that drew her heavenward, for men, Athena, stayed their harness, and I detest that man who hides one thing in the depths of his heart and speaks forth another. A last request, grant it, please. Never bury my bones apart from yours, Achilles. Let them lie together just as we grew up together, and your house of spouse. Fear, oh Achilles, the wrath of heaven. Thank God your own father, and have compassion upon me, who am the more pitiable, about probable of the many things hidden from the knowledge of man. Nothing is more intelligible than the human heart, and so their spirits soared as they took positions on the passageways of battle all night long, and the fires blazed among them, 100 strong, as stars in the night, a sky glittering round the moon's brilliance blaze all their glory when the air falls to a sudden windless calm. All a lookout, a peak stand out, and the ejected cliffs, and the steep ravines, and down from the high heavens burst the boundless bright air, and all the stars shine clear, and the shepherd's heart exults. So many fires burned between the ships, and the Exambus, whirling rapids, set by the men of Troy, bright against their walls. 1,000 fires were burning there on the plain, and beside each fire sat 50 fighting men, poised in the leaping blaze, and champing oaths, and glistening barley, stationed by their chariots. Stallions wanted, waited for dawn to mount her a glowing throne. Do not beg me by niece or by parents, your dog. I only wish I were savagely wrathful enough to hack up your corpse and eat it raw. But I say no wealth is worth my life. Perhaps I'm a rhyme or rhyme. It behooves a father to be blameless if he expects his child to be. I will stay with it and endure through suffering hardship. And once the heaving sea has shaken my raft to pieces, then I will swim. Goddess of song, teach me the story of a hero, strife and confusion joining the fight, along with cruel death, who seized one, a wounded man, while still alive, and then another man without a wound, while pulling the feet of one more corpse out from the fight. The clothes death wore around her shoulders were dyed red with human blood flood, and 50 bands of men surrounded us, and every sword saying, for your blood you could make off still with their cows. And she had patience heart, think not to match yourself against the gods, for men that walk the earth cannot hold their own with the immortals. Reproach is infinite and knows no end. So a valuable weapon is the tongue. Wounded we wound, and neither side can fail, for every man has equal strength to rail. Question me now about all other matters, but do not ask who I am for fear you may increase in my heart its burden of sorrow. As I think back, I am very full of grief, and I should not sit in the house of somebody else with my lamentation and wailing. It is not good to go on mourning forever. Dreams surely are difficult, confusing, and not everything in them is brought to pass for mankind. For fleeting dreams have two gates: one is fashioned of horn, and one of ivory. Those which pass through the one of sawn ivory are deceptive, bringing tidings which come to naught. But those which issue from the one of polished horn bring true results when a mortal sees them. As they were speaking, a dog that had been lying asleep raised his head and pricked up his ears. This was Argos, whom Odysseus had bred before setting out for Troy, but he had never had any enjoyment from him. In the old days, he used to be taken out by the young men when they went hunting wild goats or deer or hares. But now that his master was gone, but he was lying neglected on the heaps of meal and cow dung, heaps of meal and cow dung that lay in front of the stable doors, till the men should come and draw it away. Minute were the great clothes, and he was full of fleas. As soon as he saw Odysseus standing there, he dropped his ears and whacked his tail, wraps in the pail. But he could not get yet close up to his master when Odysseus saw the dog on the other side of the yard, dashed a tear from his eyes. Without Eumaeus, seeing it, and said, Eumaeus, what a noble hound that is over yonder on the manure heap. His build is splendid. Is he as fine a fellow as he looks, or is he only one of those dogs that come begging about a table and a rare he kept merely a show for show? Well, there I go. This dog, answered Eumaeus, belonged to him who has died in a far country. If he were that he was when Odysseus left for Troy, he would soon show you what he could do. There was not a wild beast in the forest that could get away from him, and when he was once on its tracks. But now he is fallen and evil times, for his master is dead and gone, and the women take not no care of him. Servants never do their work when their master's hand is no longer over them. For Zeus takes half the goodness out of a man when he takes a slave of him. So saying, he entered the well-built mansion of spit and a spatin, and made straight for the riotous pretenders in the hall. But Argos passed into the darkness of death, now that he had fulfilled his destiny of faith and seen his master once more after 20 years. Always be the best, my boy, the bravest, and hold your head up high above all the others. Never disgrace the generations of your fathers. They were the bravest champions. I urge him with truth to frame his fair replies, and sure he will, for wisdom never lies. What a lamentable thing it is that men should blame the gods and regard us as the source of their troubles, when it is their own transgressions which bring them suffering that was and not their destiny. And an irresistible sleep fell deeply on his eye, the sweetest, soundest oblivion still as the sleep of death itself. He never lie, the man is far too wise. He never lie, the man is far too wise. All men owe honor to the poet's honor, and all, for they are dearest to the muse who puts upon their lips the ways of life. A multitude of rulers is not a good thing. Let there be one ruler, one king. Let him submit to me. Only the God of death is so relentless. Death submits to no one, so mortals hate him most of all. The gods let him bow down to me. I am the greater king. I am the elder born. I claim the greater man. Tell me, muse of the man of many ways, who was driven far journeys. You've entered me, a far shooter, most deadly of the gods, and I punish you if I had the power. And his good wife will tear her cheeks in grief, his sons and are orphans, and he soak in the soil red, and his own blood. Soak in the soil red with his own blood, he rots away himself. More birds than a woman flocking round his body. Be still, my heart, thou hast known worse than this. On that day when the Cyclops, unrestrained in fury, devoured the mighty men of my company, but still thou didst endure till thy craft found a way for thee forth from out the cave, whereabout thoughtest to die. Rhyme. A guest never forgets the host who has treated him kindly. When night falls and the world lies lost in sleep, I take to my bed, my heart throbbing about to break, anxiety swarming, piercing. I may go mad with grief, rapping it. I'm spitting, I believe. I don't want you to leave me, my darling. Cover this your mind, your soul, your mind, your heart, and your body. Rap karate, ice demon, rapping relentlessly inside me, telepathically for all love eternity. I don't want you to leave me, my darling. I possess your soul, your mind, your heart, and your body. Rapping telepathically for me, the ice demon inside me. Rap karate.